Okay, sorry again here. And I'm going to just preface this by saying I apologize. I've come on the call late today, and we're going to go over some questions here with the individuals that are on. We're addressing the question on fluid intake. Excuse me. And Angie, it's Angie, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so, Angie, you were at this instructed to do 64 total ounces of fluids a day for right now. Before you started the program, you were probably less than 60 ounces, correct?
Probably.
Okay. And so what we're looking at is when you come in and we look at your body water, the reason why we want to be somewhat conscious about what we're bringing in from a fluid standpoint off the beginning is that a big part of the program here is going to be to mineralize, once again, drive minerals back into the cell, of the cells of the body. And that is a requirement in order for us to begin to hold water inside the cell. Cell hydration is one of the keys here to ultimately fixing metabolism. And so most people are walking around extremely mineral deficient. So with the Hydrovitalize, the Hydromolecular, the pink salt, you're going to start getting, and obviously the real foods and all that stuff you're going to be eating, we're going to start infiltrating the body once again with these minerals, and we're going to want them to get stuck inside the cell or pushed into the cell. The Hydrovitalize is phenomenal in terms of that. It really helps to push these nutrients and these minerals into the cell, while at the same time pulling out the wastes and things like that. So that's a really fantastic part of that particular product. But if you're drinking way too much fluid a day, then you may start to wash away some of these minerals, therefore decreasing, once again, cell hydration. So it's a long answer to your question, but I definitely want you to have some understanding behind this, so that you are being a little bit more conscious about it. Okay. Is that the 64 ounces may be right, but if you're running out of fluid, we may want to talk about that in terms of potentially jumping you up to 70 as an example, okay?
Like if I'm thirsty?
What's that?
Like if I'm thirsty when I run out?
If you don't want you to run out in the middle of the day, but just what's your current weight, if you don't mind me asking?
I believe it was 167.
167, okay.
Yeah, 167.5 this morning.
167.5, okay. And today is day 2 for you, so yesterday was your load day, right?
Right.
Okay, all right, great. So just what you're going to do with the Bragg's apple cider vinegar, just try to keep it at 3 ounces. Go ahead and mix it up in 3 ounces of water versus 5 if you can, and just drink that down after meals. So you'll do 1 to 2 tablespoons of the Bragg's apple cider vinegar in 3 ounces of water after your meals, and drink it down.
1 to 2 tablespoons? I thought it was 2 tablespoons.
I will tell people 1. I typically will tell people 2, but 1 to 2. If you're getting at least 1, that's great. Okay. But I'm going to tell you 1 to 2. If you can handle 2 and 3 ounces of water, drink it down. Okay. But somewhere between somewhere between 1 and 2 is going to be fine. Okay.
All right.
So
okay, and then I have one.
Yeah, go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
About exercise, I was exercising an hour walk at least, plus calisthenics, which I know I can't do, but an hour walk, and she said I should go down to like 20 to 30 minutes and only 3 times a week, but in the book it says more, so I wasn't sure about the exercise, what the bottom line was on that. Yeah.
No, if you were walking's going to be fine. Okay, it's the intensive cardio activity that we want to go ahead and just decrease during this intensive cardiovascular exercise. Actually promotes fat storage, believe it or not. So we want to go ahead and drop down on the intensive cardio. Walking every day is fine. And if you were walking an hour before, 30 minutes to 60 minutes, you should be okay, sticking in that vicinity. If you want to do some resistive weight training, that's fine too. Light weight training is great. So doing more of these.
I could walk an hour still? I could walk an hour. I did not want to mess this up by walking an hour.
Well, you can walk 30, I would say 30 to 60 minutes and see how you do. The thing I want people to realize is that there's going to be a lot going on in your body. This is about rebalancing and resetting and detoxifying, and your body will be working so hard on a cellular level, we just don't want to stress it, okay? The people that have exercised or done a lot prior to starting the program, many times they'll be okay with going for an hour walk instead of 30 minutes, if that makes sense. So you know your body better than anybody else. So if you walk for 60 minutes and you're feeling fatigued, you may want to cut that down to 30. Okay.
Okay.
Or 45 or whatever it is, but keep an eye on your numbers.
It's more a fatigue factor, or what numbers would I look at?
Say that again.
It's more a factor of my fatigue level if I was doing too much, or is it what numbers am I looking at?
Well, it can start to affect weight. So, it can actually start to pull the body out of fat burning. If you start to get too intense and you start to increase cortisol levels, cortisol can start to interfere. And because the big thing is we want to reduce these three really strong fat-storing hormones in the body: cortisol, estrogen, and insulin. Okay? So insulin is going to be obviously perpetuated by high sugary foods and high carbohydrate foods and the refined foods and all that stuff that we want to get out of the body. Okay? Cortisol is going to be increased by stress in the body, whether that stress is emotional or whether that stress is physical. So we want to minimize the elevation of those types of hormones during the program. And then estrogen, of course, women tend to make more estrogen than men, but that's a hormone that we want to keep down as well. Okay? So just watch your weight. What's that?
How do we keep the estrogen down?
Well, the scan is picking that up, and an example of that is we're going to scan you for you've got your foods list, right? So
right.
When you look at your foods list, that scan is looking at a lot of things, but just as an example, one thing it's going to look at, for example, did broccoli show up on your vegetable list?
I think it's on the bottom. It's like in that where I'm not supposed to probably have it very often.
Okay, yeah, so it's at the bottom of the list. So just so to give you an example, broccoli contains phytoestrogens, okay? And so some people may not see broccoli on their list at all. Some people may see it at the bottom of the list. Some people may see it higher up on their list. So part of what we're doing when we send a stimuli into your body through that scan that we did is we're going to be asking, how does this person respond to the phytoestrogens? Is it going to be a potential problem for them? Is it not an issue for them? That's what we're getting spit back to us. You see, in that foods list is based upon your body's biological preference, okay, in terms of what it's going to handle and what it's going to like and what it's not going to like, in order to get you into this state of hormone balance and ultimately into this state of fat burning, okay? So, so that's, and it's then supporting your body functionally so it can start to do some things, for lack of a better word, normally again. We want to start getting the body working the way it's supposed to work. So that's, there's a combination of things that are going on during this program and what we're doing, which is why most people begin to realize very, very quickly that it's not a weight loss program. It's actually a health transformation program where the byproduct is weight loss. It's because you will definitely lose weight. But what's more important is that we actually start to improve things on a cell level, okay? Because that's all you and I are.
Yeah, true. Hey, I have a question. Does persimmon show up on some people's fruit list and not because I didn't see it on mine? I just thought, because I had a whole bunch in the fridge, but I don't want to eat them if I shouldn't. Does that have a lot of estrogen or something in it? No,
it can be a higher glycemic index fruit, though. So there are certain fruits that are going to stimulate a higher, glycemic rating. In other words, potentially raise blood sugars or kick sugars up higher or cause insulin to be released and all that sort of stuff. So, if it's not on your list, don't eat it during phase 2 and 3. If you read the manual and you look at phase 4, where we start to bring some things back in, we really push the calories back up through the roof. We start eating a lot of good healthy fats again. Then as you start to bring some of that stuff back in, you're going to then look at it and go, wow, is this a trigger for me? In other words, how does my body respond? Does it make my body gain weight? Does it make me feel foggy? Does it give me achy joints? Do I get gas when I eat it? Do I, whatever the list is. This is sort of the empowering part of this, as you begin to understand that, you're not just like everybody else. And that's why the program is so beautiful, is because, it's about unique. It's about customizing it for your specific needs. And then ultimately, you taking that and beginning to identify what, your body likes and dislikes are over time. And that's why it's so cool. And that's why you really, really become an empowered person if you follow it exactly as we lay it out for you and you do it to the letter, because that's where the real quote-unquote miracles happen for people. And I always tell people it's not a miracle when your body's working the way it's supposed to. When it's working the way it's supposed to, it's absolutely insane what it's possible or what it's capable of doing. So, so that's where you're going. So just, stick to your foods lists. You can go to the NutrimostRecipes.com and you can get recipes from there. Your liaison will email you recipes. There's recipes in the manual, obviously. But all the food is really, really good. I mean, it's really good food. And the reason why we're not having you eat, anything with oils and stuff like that is because we're going to convert your body to a fat burner. And if you bring in oils through the skin or ingesting them, then the body will choose those over your own. So as we start to get the body to start utilizing its own adipose fat, and liquefying essentially the fat within those cells to use as a kcal source, then your body will shift into this fat burner. And then what you're going to learn is fat doesn't make you fat. You're going to ultimately want to be consuming a lot of good, healthy fats over time. And actually the majority of your calories should come from good, healthy fats. And then we talk about minimizing our intake of sugar-containing foods. We're 25 to 30 grams less. We're not getting over 25 to 30 grams of sugar a day. We're eating 40 to 60 grams of protein a day. Where we're starting to look at what are these fuels and these nutrients and these things that we're putting into our body, and how are they helping it to run at a very, very high level. And when you begin to learn that and you begin to, live that sort of way and live that lifestyle, your body turns into this unbelievable thing that will treat you amazingly, and you don't have to buy into this garbage and this BS that because you're getting older you should feel like crap. That just isn't the case, okay? So, so you and me and everybody else on this call and everybody that's listening to this recording, what I want to say to all of you loud and clear is that your body will heal, your body can heal, and your body will function better than it's ever functioned before, if you do this program to the letter, and, and then you learn how to begin to take care of it and stay away from the stuff that I affectionately refer to as dietary crack. It basically has no nutrient value to the body whatsoever. So anyway, sorry to ramble, but I hope that helps a little bit.
No, it did. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Any other questions about it? You're obviously just getting started, so you got me if you want to ask me anything.
Yeah, I was concerned, I guess, mostly about the exercise because I have diabetes, and I felt like, well, I've been doing that. Is my body going to go, wait a minute, where did all the exercise go? Because I mainly was doing the walking. That was consistently the thing.
Yeah,
so that's helpful.
No, great. Yeah, great question. And no, I mean, doing the walking is fine. I think, just to help you to understand is your body, as a diabetic, by the way, you're a type 2 diabetic?
Yes.
Okay. So what's going to begin to happen on this program is your body is going to start to heal. All the hormone receptors actually begin to heal, but a big part that's going to happen is insulin sensitivities. Are going to be broken. You're going to actually see healing in the insulin receptors, the leptin receptors, and something called FGF21. The FGF21 receptors, which are also heavily associated with weight challenges and blood sugar disruptions or blood sugar imbalances, which is basically what diabetes is. And so it's very, very powerful as you start to break leptin resistance, as you start to break insulin resistance, and you start to see the healing of the FGF21 receptors and all these other hormone receptors. Your blood sugars are going to go down pretty darn quick, okay? And so you'll definitely want to be monitoring your blood sugars on a daily basis. And watching them very closely. Do you mind if I ask which drugs you currently take?
Well, they told me I should take 1,000 milligrams or milligrams, I guess, of metformin a day, and I was only taking one because I wasn't sure if it was affecting me. My gut was really irritated by that. I thought it was irritated.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what or not. So I did it down to 1, but it really hasn't controlled the sugar numbers. And they were down this morning a little bit, but it's still well over 100. And I don't know whether I should just continue I don't really have I can get a refill of that metformin, if I should just stick to the 1 pill a day or do 2 like originally I was told.
Well, first of all, let me say this. One of the most common side effects of metformin is gastric distress and diarrhea, okay? So, so what you were feeling, is very common. So that's a common effect of that drug, okay? Number 2, do you have glucose strips, a glucose testing kit? In other words, so you know what your blood sugars are.
Yeah, that's what I texted the last 2 mornings to you.
Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to check those first thing in the morning before you eat lunch, before you eat dinner, and then before you go to bed at night as you start to move through the program, okay? Because the hydromolecular, by the way, if you Google molecular hydrogen studies, you'll be blown away at all the amazing stuff that stuff's capable of doing. But the big thing you're going to see with the hydromolecular is leptin receptors are going to heal and insulin receptors are going to heal. The FGF21 receptors are going to heal. And that's tied together with everything else that's going to go on for how you're supporting your body through the program. So as that begins to occur, your body's going to start to develop its own ability once again to manage its blood sugars. And part of that is going to be the fact that your liver is going to begin to function again, okay? Not eating breakfast and, cutting the calories to 500 to 800 calories on this program is not how you lose weight. There are lots of people that walk through our doors and that's what they're doing already and they ain't losing a pound. It's not about that, okay? So it's not some low-calorie diet that you're doing. The research tells us that we want about 12 hours between the last meal that we eat in the day and the next time we eat the next day. That 12 hours is going to give our liver enough time to begin to clear itself and cleanse itself and heal, okay? Now, in your particular case, the liver is the primary regulator of our blood sugars. So you want to really, really do everything you can to start to support better liver function. As your liver starts to improve in terms of its functionality and working, your blood sugars are going to start to begin to normalize again on their own, okay? And so therefore, if you start taking some drug that was created in a laboratory that was also designed to try and drive your blood sugars down, then you might go hypoglycemic if you're not watching them carefully, okay? So it's kind of like me. I don't have a blood sugar challenge, so there's no way in God's green earth I would take metformin or glyceride or inject myself with exogenous insulin or anything like that because my body's working the way it's supposed to. Does that make sense?
Right. So if I stick to the 1 which I was kind of habitually taking and then just let this work on my body until it works, right?
Well, let me just say this. I can't tell you what to do with your I can't tell you what to do with your with your drugs. I can't tell anybody what to do with their drugs. All I really try to do is to empower you and educate you with information to help you understand ultimately what the drugs are doing and that they're not of any benefit from a nutrient perspective. In other words, they're not helping the body to work better. Oftentimes they're interfering because we know that all drugs are going to leach minerals and nutrients from the body, period. They will do that. Statin drugs will leach CoQ10 as an example, which is vital to cell energy, especially the myocardial muscles, the heart muscles. That's another conversation for another day. But in this particular case, this is where I really encourage you to begin to take back control because you know how you feel. You can look at your blood sugars through your glucometer, and you can start to make the decision on your own as to whether or not, gosh, my sugars are looking good. Do I really need to take this drug? If you don't feel confident doing it on your own, then definitely reach out to your prescribing physician because as your sugars go down, I would be blown away if they didn't tell you to, obviously stop taking the metformin. What's that?
My husband did this, John Deere, and he went off his metformin. So.
Oh yeah. So John knows. It's that's what's going to start to happen is you're going to begin to witness this and feel this change as your body starts to heal, and it's a pretty amazing process. It's really cool. I love watching physical transformation. I always tell people the physical transformation is really neat to see. But what gives me more gratitude than anything else is to watch people begin to take back control of what I think is our greatest asset, and that's our health. And that's exactly what's going to happen to you and everybody else on this call that does the program and does it the way that they should. and the byproduct will be weight loss, and that's all obviously exciting. You're killing multiple birds with one stone. So, so if you can monitor that, Angie, and kind of, make some, calls on your own or reach out to your physician if you feel like you need to and have that conversation with him or her as well. But I will tell you that your sugars are going to go down. They'll start to go down, relatively quickly. And as they start to drop down, that's where you want to begin to think about whether or not you should take something that may drive them further down, because you don't want to go hypoglycemic. It's not a good place to be. Okay?
Okay. All right.
So, okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Any other questions?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Angie, for the chance to help you. You're going to do absolutely awesome, and your husband's a great guy, and I totally remember him. And you actually should be texting me daily. Are you doing that? I don't think I've seen a text from you.
Yeah, I did yesterday.
You did?
You asked me a question last night. I texted back, and then I texted this morning, but I didn't say day 2, so I'll make sure I get the right day on there next time.
Oh, yeah, just give me what day you're on then. Okay, great. Well, I'm glad you're okay. All right. I got about 150 texts coming in a day, so I'm trying to keep everybody straight. But okay, well, awesome. Well, I'm proud of you. I appreciate that you're giving us the chance to help you, and the cool thing is that you're going to be in control when it's all said and done. So,
all right.
Cool. All right. Well, have a great day, Angie. Are there any other questions? And once again, I do apologize for getting on late today. I know I was going to cover some stuff on good fats and heart disease and all that. I'm going to actually have to postpone covering that material until next week because of the meeting that ran late for me today. But I want to make sure I answer any questions that anybody has that are on the call today. So does anybody have any questions at all? Any additional questions?
I do. How much of the Himalayan sea salt should I be consuming a day?
The pink salt. Are you talking about the pink salt you got at our office?
Yes.
Okay. Use at least a half a teaspoon a day. Okay. And what I'll tell people is to just use that stuff as liberally as you possibly can to taste on a daily basis. But I usually will just say at least a half teaspoon is going to be great. So use it, as much as you want on your food. Use it as a seasoning and cook with it. And think of it as a mineral supplement more than anything else. That's what's really great about that stuff. There's over 93 plus trace minerals in that pink salt, and it's 50% Mediterranean and 50% Hawaiian salt. The pink in it actually comes from the volcanic ash, the Hawaiian volcanic ash. So it's really amazing stuff. And just sort of FYI, there's 83, 84 minerals involved in the fat burning process. So when you have people that come in, and most everybody that comes through our doors has a mineral deficiency, which is also associated with their dehydration issues and their inability to hold water inside the cell. But those minerals are vital to your body being able to get into fat burning, and that's why that pink salt is so darn powerful, along with the hydrovitalized and the hydromolecular. So yeah, you'll want to. That's something that I use every single day. My family uses. I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old daughter. They absolutely love it. So just use as much of it as you can to taste. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Feel free to ask anything. That's what this is all about. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and cut it short then today. Thank you for those of you that were on today. Thank you that stayed on. I apologize once again that I got on late today. I will next week go ahead and cover, good fats and heart disease and some things that hopefully will, once again enlighten you a little bit. And the objective that I always have is, and like I've always said, is to bring information to all of you that helps you to think outside the box a little bit. I've done some research here as I'm preparing. I'm putting together some things. I have a goal which I won't share with all of you today, but I'm always looking for information and reading stuff. And I came across some pretty interesting stuff in my research that maybe I'll talk a little bit more next week. I'll probably talk about it on the radio shows. Actually, I know I will. I'll definitely talk about it on the radio shows this week. But but it really has to do with the health of a country, the health of a state, the health of a county or a community or city or whatever it is. And when I've said in the past that our health is really our greatest asset, there's really no greater truth than that, because without your health, there's not really much to life. And when a community or a country or a county or a state or whatever it is doesn't have a healthy population, then that ultimately contribution that population can make on a collective basis to the rest of society begins to diminish substantially. And we've got some real challenges that are going on in this country in terms of our healthcare system, which is really a disease care system. That's the reality. And according to the World Health Organization, the United States is 37th in the world in terms of overall health, but we're number one in terms of the overall cost and spending that we do annually on our healthcare. So we spend the most on healthcare, but we're one of the sickest countries in the world. And then that was also confirmed through this Commonwealth Fund executive or a summary that actually I got the executive summary, but it's an update they did how the performance of the U.S. healthcare system compares internationally, mirror on the wall. What they did is they took 11 of the most wealthy countries in the world and looked at them from a health perspective, and the United States ranked 11 out of 11. And also they found that we obviously spend the most money on health than anything else. And so then it kind of stimulated me to look into some other things. And what I found, which I thought was kind of interesting and why I'm going to probably talk a little bit more about it on the radio show this week, is that the United States of America ranks number one in the world. Let me say this again. The United States of America ranks number one in the world in incarcerated human beings. We have more people in prisons in this country than any other country in the world. And, we've got obviously some real political discussions that are being had over gun control, and I'm certainly not against gun control necessarily or any of that stuff, but it's kind of like treating the symptom, is that it's ultimately a person that grabs the gun and shoots somebody. And, we've got a lot of sick people, a lot of confused people, and a lot of people that are suffering needlessly right now in this country and doing things that they maybe wouldn't normally do if they had their health and their well-being and their wits about them. So I know it's a much bigger topic, and it's kind of a Pandora's box that I've opened, but I start to ask questions more related about function of a human being versus, this thing that they're grabbing and committing these egregious crimes with. I mean, it's really sad to see, but I think we, as people that are involved in this Nutrimost movement, and for those of you that are doing the program, and Angie, for you as an example, who's just getting started on the program, people begin to realize that it's a lifestyle at the end of the day, and it's not some fad diet program. I know people want to lose weight on the program. People will lose weight on the program. That's a foregone conclusion. That just is going to happen if you follow the program. But the bigger part of it, the more exciting part of it is how you begin to regain your health and your overall sense of self and, well-being and the empowerment that you gain from this program. And that's why it makes me so excited, and why I love what I'm doing and what we're doing and witnessing on a daily basis. And so I'll let you chew on that. I'm going to probably talk about that a little bit on the radio show. If you guys don't know, I do two radio shows. There's one that starts at 7 a.m. on Saturdays. It's actually on a FM station called Flow 107.1. That's just a 30-minute show where I interact with one of the on-air personalities there who actually went through the program, and we talk about fun stuff and things like that. And then on Saturdays, I do a show from 8 to 9 a.m. on 760 a.m. Talk Radio. That's an hour-long show, and I'll always bring a guest on that show. We've got so many people that have amazing stories, and I love it when they come on and share their stories. So anyway, those two shows will be on this weekend. They're on every Saturday, and hopefully I can continue to bring content that inspires and stimulates you and helps you to maybe become a more conscious liver, not only from a from a personal perspective, but obviously for your family and more globally as well. Because You guys that are doing the program and gals that are doing the program, you're going to become leaders. Whether you like it or not, you're going to be a leader. And I mean that not from the standpoint of you're going to be necessarily a gregarious, outspoken, stand on the soapbox type of leader, but people are going to look at you because you're going to change. And you're going to become this person who's got the twinkle back in their eye and the fog is lifted from their brain and their energy is higher and they're overcoming health challenges and all this stuff that quote-unquote isn't normal as a person gets older. And like I said earlier to Angie, you don't have to accept that just because you're having more birthdays that you should feel like crap. I just don't believe in that. I feel like we were built to go out like a candle, not to suffer for the last 20, 25, 30 years of our life, taking a bunch of chemicals that are made in a laboratory to try and treat symptoms. So they have their place. They can certainly be beneficial in the short term. I've never told anyone to stop their drugs. I'll never tell anybody to stop their drugs. All I want to do is try and give you control back so that you can step into your power and be the person that you came here to be. And when that happens, society begins to benefit collectively, and that's what it's all about, is improving our community and making Colorado the healthiest state in the country. That's a big goal for us, and that's what we're going to do. So thanks again for everybody being on. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate you giving us the chance to help you. Just follow this program to the T, everybody, and you will be so happy. Don't be worried too much about the scale. The scale will take care of itself. Focus internally on your health and well-being, and that's where the secret sauce lies, is regaining your health. So have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.